Good evening, C3 parents. I'm your coach Karien Pitout, and welcome to the conversation. I hope I waited long enough to say hello. If you're watching this video, please hit that like button, really helps out the channel. And today we are actually going to talk about what does child-centered society or home truly mean. We often use that terminology, especially in the gentle parenting circles, and there is a bit of confusion or questions about what does it truly mean. Does it really mean that the child beats the drum of the household and parents and adults just bend to the child's will? Or does it actually mean a little bit more than that? So first of all, to clear out the misconception, no. Child-centered does not mean that the child is the authority and everybody just bends to the child's will. It basically means that we are coaching our child, and in the process of coaching, we value the child's feedback, input, and what their needs truly are in helping them and guiding them and meeting their needs. Now, a lot of parents, we live in a society, I don't want to say a lot of parents, but we live in a society where it's almost as if parenting has become a martyrdom. And it's because it becomes parent centered living instead of child centered living, or parenting or home or society. Parent centered society is that besides that, the parent is the person that makes all the decisions, the child has to do exactly what the parent says. And then also the parent makes choices and decisions for the child. For example, a child at the age of 6 decide they don't like the hairstyle they have, they would like to go to the hairdresser, or they would like someone to take care of their hair and change the style that they have, whether it's cutting their hair or things like that. Obviously, if you live in a community or in a country where they attend a school where they're not allowed to dye their hair while they're in school, obviously then your child's hair won't be dyed. But the parent is the one that makes decisions, from clothing that gets worn, how their hair should look, every single, almost like micromanaging. And that kind of parenting is actually detrimental to a child's development and their ability to function within society, to actually have self confidence. But in the age group 0 to about 8, we teach children how to value themselves, their self-interest, their value of self, their self-esteem develops during this time period. If we go from a parent-centric perspective, we interfere so that our children do not make mistakes. If we work from a child-centered perspective, we take a step back and coach or do hand-in-hand parenting. We do side-by-side parenting. We are with our children, allow them to try something, try to execute it, learn from the mistake, and move forward. Children also then get to make valuable decisions. If it's child-centered, they get to choose how they would like to wear their hair, what clothing they would like to wear, even if it looks as if it is an elephant swallowed a rainbow and then vomited it all out. Um, that's fine. It is a child developing their own self-esteem and their own self-interest. And that is the interesting thing. Teasing or the peer pressure only starts from 7, 8, and upwards. Under the age of 7 or 8, a child can go out with their hair raised like this in their pajamas and still feel like I look good, because they're not concerned about what outside society think of them. It's the perfect age for them to experiment, to try things, to develop skills, to make mistakes, because from the age 7 or 8 upwards, there's outside pressures. They become aware that other people have opinions, and has an influence in their decision making, and then they start to carefully curate the image that they have for the outside world. So if we actually do not live child-centered, then we're creating a space where, when the child is at the age where they start curating who they are, the time where they've had to figure out and find the solid ground for who they believe they are, we kind of miss that boat. Going into the teenage years, teenagers literally figure out exactly, like, really their focus is, this is who I am, this is what I want to be. And it's so much more, the older you get, the more difficult it is to break certain habits, to have a better understanding of yourself. And if you as an adult even think back on your own childhood, um, as much as you might try to live in a specific identity that you've decided as an adult, this is what I want to be, it is so much more difficult because it's easier to fall back into the things and the struggles that you had as a child, the self-deprecation, the struggle with self-confidence. And it's all about how much freedom for development a child gets in the first 8 years of their life. Now, no parent is a martyr. And I think because we often measure good parenting according to how much of a sacrifice the parent is willing to make for their parents, we're missing the boat. There's a difference between making sacrifices so that my child can have a good future and being a martyr so that I can look good for the outside world. There is a big difference. Yes, we do make certain sacrifices. If we live in a household where there's not always enough money to have enough food, the sacrifice that we as parents make is feed the kids first and eat whatever's left over. That kind of sacrifices, that's not martyring, that is sacrificing for your child's best interest. When martyring becomes a thing is constantly having to say yes, then we say that it's child-centered, but it's not really. We try to keep up with standards and expectations in a society that puts so much pressure on children and on parents to be perfect that we become martyrs. And the bigger the martyr, the better the parent, which is complete nonsense, because children in those countries and in those societies where the drive is performance, 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 performance. Ironically enough, those children and those societies, their children, actually measure out in a higher percentage of self harm, depression, anxiety, psychological challenges, and disorders that comes from that high pressure society and parental burnout, as well as substance abuse, both by children and parental unit. So, the more pressure and performance driven we get, the more parent centered we get as a society, the more almost the wheels comes off the wagon, the more toxic the society that our child is being raised in becomes. So it is extremely important to understand that no parent needs to be a martyr, and it is okay to say no. And it is okay to teach our children. It's not just okay, we have to teach our children how to get out of that performance driven and start focusing on the unit, the family unit, the relation. Another interesting thing about performance driven versus child centric or parent centric society or community is that within the parent centric community, the whole performance and all of that, children actually develop independence and certain life skills much later in their life that they should have been able to master earlier in their life. They also live far more strict, less freedom of movement, almost very little freedom to make decisions. Where in a child centric community, children get to make a lot more choices, and they are a participant, active participant, with not just within the family unit, but also within greater society, that also get opportunities to make choices. One of the other things that is interesting, if you look at the two differences, is that a child-centric family or community or society would often also be less materialistic, less focused on technology, and not necessarily less focused on technological advancements. What I'm saying is less focused on technology as a means to raise your children with. Children in child-centric communities or homes or societies often have more spaces for children to be children and play around and move about actually without adult supervision or interference. In a parental centric or a parent centric society, a child can barely brush their teeth without a parent being involved. So it's about control and freedom and finding that balance. I just quickly want to have a quick look at one of my notes here that I've done. All right, so one of the ways that we can actually move our homes, even if the society that our children grow up in is might be very parent centric, very rigid in a certain sense. One of the ways we can do is we can actually create a child centric space at home where we actually become more involved in our kids' lives, not by making decisions for them, but by actually hearing them, listening to them, hearing their voice, allowing them to express themselves. So instead of limiting them, giving them freedom, giving them free range. If they want to try out something, giving them that freedom while guiding them through that whole process of what they are busy learning, what they are busy going to, and also listening to what they're saying, not necessarily always the words, but sometimes just the underlying current of what they're trying to say. Then an interesting thing that happens in child-centric families or in child-centric society and the other one is in a child-centric family and society there's more time for the kids. um, they in a performance-driven, and that's where I grew up, performance-driven kind of society, it's and we often say that, and I'm guilty, I've said it, that um, quality over quantity. But interesting enough, in a child-centric society or home, it isn't just, there is no trade-off. It's quantity and quality. So the kids actually get not just the quantity of time that they get, like quite a lot of time that they get to spend with their family, and they enjoy the family time, but they also get quality connection with their parents and family time and how they connect with each other. And that is actually quite interesting because a child is allowed to be heard. Dinner table conversations is often um, a, like almost like a visit with friends. You spend time, you hear, and the kids chat, and you talk about everything. And it's not talking about grades or performance or you have to do this or have to do this or have to do this. It is genuinely sharing interests and having conversations with each other about who we are, and that those families actually get to know each other on a far more intimate level. And if you go and look at child-centered societies, the family unit, as the children age out of parental care, basically become independent adults, um, the closeness of that family extends. The family members remain close, and you'll see the cohesive family units that comes from that, because there is connection that came from quality time as well as quantitative time that they've spent together. When a performance driven, there's very little time to spend time together because we need to get from A to B to C. We need to perform. We need to get this conversations even at the dinner table. Even as a family, we try to spend time together at the dinner table. The conversations at the dinner table will be performance centric and not life centric, not experience centric. And so what can we do? We know the difference now, so what can we do? We live in a performance society. What can we do? First of all, open up dinner time, or at least a meal a day where you as a family sit together, and instead of talking about the next test that's coming or the stressors of work or whatever those things are, and just talk about favorite movies, kind of music they listen to. Give the children an opportunity to play their favorite song. You can play them your favorite song. um, Basically approach it almost like a adult getting to know each other, spending time together. Start sharing things on a personal level and make those conversations. Um, Thank you very much, Hanneke. Have those conversations open and have those conversations going, and so making opening up those conversations. The next step is when your child is saying, you know what, I need to try this, or I want to do this, when your immediate reaction is, no, you can't, instead of saying, no, you can't, say, okay, let's work out a way that you can achieve that. Whether it means that I have to go with you, whether it means that we need to talk certain things through. Let's see how you can achieve that, what you would like to do, that kind of independence in a safe way while I support you instead of me just making the decisions for you. Allowing children to actually choose their subjects. It's so funny, having grown up in a performative society, performance and parent centric society, to a child centric society, living now in a child centric society. I've previously mentioned my kid got to choose their own school. I wasn't allowed to do the picking. Going forward, they're going to have to choose their middle border school and college directions and all of that. It's up to them to make those choices. But it's also interesting to see when they choose extracurricular activities or how they want to approach things, where our parents would make the decisions for us, what kind of school you go to, you know, what you dress, what you wear, how you dress, and all of that. And living in this society, it's different. The children gets to choose. There's a lot more options for the children, because children are valued as whole human beings and that their opinion matters. They're allowed to go sit down with a teacher and say, this has happened in the class and I don't agree with this, or I don't understand this, can you guide me through this? And the approach is not an approach necessarily like we would have a teacher shouting in the front of the classroom, but rather a, let me stand next to you and let's walk forward, let's move forward, let's find that independence, let's set you up for success. One of the activities in the like really early classes is that they need to be able to dress themselves, which can be extremely frustrating, because you might have a child that struggles a little bit with stuff. And a lot of parents, when we see our kids struggle, we want to interfere because we need to get moving. We're in that pressure where the pressure cooker is taken away. So often we try to bring the pressure cooker home. So take the pressure cooker out of your home, and when your child is trying to do something or trying to experiment with something, instead of getting annoyed that they're making a mess or feeling frustrated because they just don't seem to get it, take a step back and let them struggle. It is okay for our kids to struggle. And I don't mean like struggle, end up in hospital. What I mean is allow them to experience resistance in life. Not everything has to be perfect. If they have to set the table and the table doesn't look the way that you want it, it's fine. They've executed the task. If they want to try cooking and you want them to cut stuff, yes, they're not going to cut it like a chef. Very few people I know can cut onions like a chef or tomatoes like a chef. Let your child just do it. As long as they don't lose a finger, it's fine. Allowing that freedom, giving that space, taking that step back actually creates opportunities to spend time with your child as the parent without having to be a policeman, without having to be control. Interesting thing, another thing with child centric is take a pause and have fun. The approach is this going to be fun? Let's make it fun. And it sounds like almost so irresponsible. How can, like, there's certain things that's very serious. Children learn through having fun. And we as adults sometimes forget to have fun. So tap into the opportunity to have fun with your kids. Step away from performance. Yes, fine. It sounds like your child is killing a cat while they're practicing their violin. Maybe you then want to go to the neighbors and give them earplugs and apologize because your child decided they want to play. Your child decided they want to play violin, and it's going to go through growing pains. They're not playing violin because you chose the instrument. Give them options. Obviously, when we do that even here. We have the rule that if you want to do a specific sport, you at least have to do one semester or one term of it, before you're allowed to quit if you decide it's not for you, because you cannot necessarily always decide within the first lesson, well, this is not for me. But the interesting thing that I've experienced once or twice, maybe in the South African context, um, but here specifically, kids can have one or two trial lesson sessions, where they don't have to buy the sports equipment. They actually get to borrow the sports equipment, do one or two sessions where they get a feel for it, see if they enjoy the sport, and see if they want to continue doing this sport. And it's the child's choice. A parent can stand next to the side of the courtyard and stomp their feet and say, "But I want my child to do this." And the coach will go like, "Well, I'm not going to take your child into the team or into my academy because your child sincerely does not want to do it." So the child has a very definitive voice in what's going on. And you can create that opportunity within your household, even if you live in a performance driven community where you allow your child to choose, where you give them the space, whether you agree with it or not. Ask if you take them to for a tennis lesson or a whatever sport they would like to do. Ask, listen, can we do a trial? Let's see how it goes. Um, Even if it means you need to pay pro rata for one or two lessons, let them do a trial before you invest money into the sports equipment or whatever equipment that might be needed. I'd also find moments of fun. Join your kids where they're at. So often we say child led weaning or child led activities. The meaning of that is let your child have the voice, because they will ask the questions, they will try to do something when they are ready for it, um, especially in the age group under the age of 8. A child will not ask a question about a specific topic if they're not really ready to start hearing bits and pieces of the truth, um, and a sincere answer. The same with activities and things that they're trying. If they try to climb the couch or they try to climb something that you're scared that they might get hurt, do you know how kids get hurt on jungle gyms? 90% of the time is because parents pick them up and put them on top instead of letting them struggle at the steps to climb themselves. We've got a rule in our household, and I want to say this is the rule for a child-centric society. At least one of the one of the rules. If you can get there yourself, you'll be able to get yourself out of it. So if you can get yourself into that trouble, you can get yourself out of it. Therefore, I'm not going to push you into it. So taking that, I'm standing next to you, that if you successfully get up there and you do, like how a cat sometimes forget how to get down from a tree, like they climb the tree and then they forget how to get down. If my child that then gets stuck, I can meet them where they're at, help them to get out, but I am not putting them prematurely in a space that they are not ready to occupy. I'm also not holding them back from growing up and learning important life skills. We have open, honest conversations about the human being and the human body and all of those things. They get to choose, they get to understand life, they get to understand their own body, they get to understand their own mind, and they get to understand society by experimentation. And we are there to support them every step of the way. This is where I'm going to stop tonight's conversation about this. There is a couple of more bits and pieces regarding this. And as we journey through this, understanding what child-centric looks like, we are going to talk about various other things that actually plays a significant role. Please keep your eyes out for the video. Like seriously, the next video that I've pre-recorded. I'm doing it. It's lots and lots of editing. The kids are on holiday as well, and since I personally am embracing the child-centric lifestyle. I have cut down on some of my performance levels, especially when the kids are at home for the holiday, so that I can spend time with them, get things going. And interestingly enough, the house is a bigger mess, obviously, when the kids are not at school. So trying to keep my hand over that, and also just enjoying my kids and enjoying family life in between everything else. So guys, please stay safe. I love you. Thank you for the continued support. Share this with your friends. Hit that like button. If you have any questions, let me know, so that we can keep on expanding on this topic, because it was personally for me, it was an eye opener. I always thought that I understood what child-centric truly looks like. And in this journey, while I'm discovering all of this, I would like to keep on sharing the information and help you as a parent connect better with your child, with the creative thinking, being conscious of your child's day to day. Stay safe. I love you, and I'll see you again. Oh, Hanneke, thank you. Yes, I am looking summery because we are in spring and we've actually been having an awesome week of weather. It's nice weather at the moment, so we are um, having a great time. So she loves doing things herself, which are allowed to, obviously, unless it's dangerous for her. But okay, she'll start crying when she's stuck, or when she's made a mistake. Um, just comfort her. Some kids are just have that personality when okay, so you just help, you just step in and help. Whether it's whimpering, it's fine. It's don't police. Um, she's asking for help. So don't police. Yes, she's gonna struggle. Yes, she's gonna be sad. That's the way she's currently expressing herself. And it's fine that you react with support, even if she does it in a tone of voice that grates against your bones or against your soul. It's fine. Um, keep on being there, keep on allowing her to struggle a bit. Only help, step in to help when she asks for help. If she asks for help to do something that is dangerous, obviously then you need to step in and say, listen, yeah, if you need help for me to get you there, I can't, because this is going to be dangerous. The same if my kid climbs a tree and he wants to climb higher than what he's capable of and asks me to give him a boost, I will not. And I have said that before. I do not boost them. My words always to them is, if you cannot get up there yourself, you're not ready to be up there. And then I just take a step back. Um, so that is basic. So you always approach to on your approach always is, yes, my love, I'm here. I'll help you. So later, even if it's in a voice that you don't like, it's fine. Let her ask help and let you then step in to help where you can. I'm sorry that the tone that she's doing it in might not be pleasing to you, but that's the tone that she's currently doing because she's frustrated. She's trying to regulate that emotion while expressing, using her words. Um, she at this age don't really have much control over how she sounds. She won't. It's emotion, and she can't control it in any way. So asking her to change the tone of voice is taking away from her learning experience. Then it becomes parent centric. Then it becomes to what is pleasing me instead of how can I support my kid to learn. And that is a massive mind shift. Um, so that is a massive, it really it takes a lot. I've personally struggled with that. um but it takes time. It takes time of catching yourself instead of, why should someone please me when they're asking help? um if I already offered to be available when they need help, why should they then? It's almost like, if we imagine your husband says, okay, listen here, if you get stuck, or your life partner, listen here, if you get stuck with something, just come and ask for help, I'll help you. And then you go to him or to them, and then you say, hey, I'm stuck with this, can you come help me? And they turn around and say, well, I didn't like your tone of voice. first change your tone of voice before I help you. Then the offer of help becomes manipulation instead of a sincere connection, because then you're going to start resenting asking that person for help, and start rather trying to do it for yourself instead of uh, and possibly get hurt or do something, get it wrong completely, um, or just completely give up because you were constantly tone policed. So just find that balance. Good. Let them sit on the counter where you're cooking and then let them stir some pot for you. Oh yeah, I know you guys are getting starting to feel cold. We had a really long winter. It was really long. But yeah, we finally come on, we had snow in spring, in April. We had snow here in April. So anyway. So yeah, but my heart is beating for the South Africans at this particular point in time. I am really, um, especially KwaZulu Natal, the disaster area. It's just, it's horrible sitting this side and not being able to actively do anything. Especially we've got family in KwaZulu Natal, and so, but we get constant updates, which is great. So at least we know that everybody's fine, and at least on our family everybody is fine and safe. But if there is any more questions, I will get to them in the comments. I am going to finish our conversation for tonight, guys. Please stay safe. I love you, and I'll see you guys in the next conversation. I'm going to try and see if I can do lives every Wednesday now, because pre-recording and editing with the new lifestyle, since I'm embracing having fun in life as well, means that editing kind of gets a bit of a backseat. So live videos, it will have to be, and I really want to build this community. If you have not joined the Patreon community yet, it's a fabulous community. Hit the link down below in the description, and come join the community. Our podcast for this month is about stress in the home, how to manage the stress in the home, and how it affects us. So give that a listen as well. Cheers, stay safe, and I love you.